our show, you better tune out right now, okay? Because that crusty, dusty, butt-scratching Steve Sharippa meets Sons of Anarchy if they all just gave up and decided that suicide was the answer.
Something I had never really thought to do was relate the idea of a family member losing someone to suicide as similar to God losing Jesus, dying on the cross, and going through the feeling of watching your son die on the cross. It was very interesting concept. This is such a touching conversation, and you see a shift in him throughout, which I think is such a kudos to the performance in the arc of the characterization. It's almost like God is working in mysterious ways through his nephew to have inspired him to call it that very moment, and then even for the sunrise to come at that opportune time for the picture to just happen to be there. It's like all these elements kind of, which you call coincidence, but really all these elements were in place, which inevitably gave him a new lease on life.
They had a really well thought out story from beginning, middle to end. I liked what they were doing with the cinematography. I think the actors in this were absolutely fantastic. Everybody was very organic, very believable, and story-wise, it really hit you in the feels. You know, you were on this journey with them, and I thought that it was really, really good.
Wow, what a moving film. It actually brought me to tears. The arc of the lead character was incredible, moving from cynical and depressed to touched and amazed. The setting of the cramped studio was perfect. The dramatic music near the end was very suitable to round out the film. The performances were all awesome, notably the young boy, whose presence was so sweet. Great close-up facial shots and editing, especially the quick cuts of the birthday party scene.
A DJ radio host, and as he's collecting phone calls, he gets a call from a little kid. He's like, "What are you doing? It's late." And they end up having this back and forth conversation side by side with the cinematography. And the young boy is tormented and distraught that his best friend has left and is going through so much struggle as his friend has witnessed his grandfather commit suicide. And so you kind of reflect back to the gun here in that, special insert shot of imagery in the beginning of the short film. And you really get encapsulated in this emotionally gripping moment between the two. I thought it was a pretty intense moment, and you get to see so much emotion in this little boy's eyes. Like, that's something I think that is sticking with me the most within this piece, is just that full focus of his eyes as he's telling the story to the DJ host.
Very heavy. It definitely deals with heavy topics such as suicide. The way I've always seen depression is it's like a veil. It's a black veil that kind of warps your perception of reality. And being behind that veil for long enough, you start to forget that it's a veil and you start to see that as your reality. But sometimes all it takes is that little reminder that things are not always as it seems. The story about a radio host's nephew's friend, while very harrowing and very tragic, you can tell that story wasn't told because of him. You can tell that that story was told for the uncle. And sometimes we just need that little reminder that there are people out there that cherish and value you.
It's amazing, the timing of children, and that's really what this shows. It also shows how the Spirit of God can be with someone even when we're in our darkest moments. This really is from the mouth of babes, where children can speak up at the moment, we don't think so, because this guy was about to kill himself. He was listening to the negative words of people so much that his nephew just knew when to call. It shows that God works in mysterious ways. While he might not have been able to save Tyler's parents or his grandpa, that he was able to save this man and show that there used to be a moment of him that was light. We might not understand all of the ways God works, which this kid said he was trying to figure out, but we can definitely figure out so much more through it, and this film really does show just what a voice can do.
Dark film, we see the radio host is basically he's an old radio host and he doesn't have much to do anymore. I mean, he doesn't want to do much anymore in his life. He's tired, and then he gets this call during the night, during unusual night shift, and he takes a decision that will change his life forever. For the first time in a while, this character finally has some adrenaline, you know. And it's cool to see how he reacted to this call, how he managed to get through everything, how his arc completed in a very efficient way. And then this movie reminds us all that you never know what kind of battles people are fighting in a moment. So you should be careful of what you're saying, because every word you say to any person you have in front of you have a very, very important weight, and that can change completely their lives.